first things first, you want to go to wholesalesupplysplus.com and go to their batch size calculator. You can copy this address and just go to it each time you need to go to it. Save it into your favorites. It definitely will come in handy. This is a very easy to use calculator if you're a beginner, even if you're advanced. I know there's some other places you can go to use their calculators, but ever since I found this one, I've been using it. So I've been using this calculator for a few years now. I'm just going to be making a basic lotion recipe, and as you can see here, you can use, or you can calculate in ounces, pounds, milliliters, and grams. So some people prefer grams to ounces. It's just a personal preference. I prefer ounces. It depends on what I'm doing and how big the batch is. Now, for this, for the sake of this recipe, I'm going to just show you how to do it in about, I'm going to say 16 ounces, because that's 16 ounces, my containers that I use for lotion. Normally I think I use 8 ounces. So that's 2 bottles of lotion. So it's up to you, personal preferences and all that. You can do however large you want the batch to be. So I'm going to do 16 ounces. And I already know what ingredients I'm going to use here. So I'm going to use distilled water. You always want to use distilled water. It's already in there. So, and what I normally tend to do is I already know how much water I'm going to use in my recipe. For lotion, I tend to use about 70% water, and I mix that. Sometimes I'll do water and aloe vera liquid, or people can, you can do, I've known people to do water, honey, however you want to do it. What I found out with honey is, for me, when I use honey and water, that lotion to me is too sticky, and I just prefer not to use honey. But now, what I have started using, and I haven't tried it in lotion yet, I'm gonna try it, and I'll probably have to update you guys to let you know how it works. But I do have, I think it's called quaternized honey, and that is more of a liquid form of honey, and that is used, you can use that in place of water, or you can use water in that. So I haven't tried it yet, but I will. But for now, I'm just going to do distilled water and aloe vera liquid for my water portion. So I'm going to use, let's say, 35% distilled water, and for the aloe vera liquid, I'm going to do 35%. And some people, what they tend to do is they'll add all of their other ingredients first, and then they'll come back and whatever, they'll take 100 and then subtract whatever they have, and whatever's left over is what they'll add in water. I don't do that for lotion recipes, but I will do that for like other types of recipes. Okay. So my next ingredient is going to be avocado oil, and I'm going to use about 5% of that. And of course, everybody knows that, or if you don't, avocado oil is good for hydration, and also it's good for skin tone renewal, and it helps to treat eczema and psoriasis. So it's a very good oil to have and to use for a lotion. And the next one I'm going to use, I'm going to add a little bit of coconut oil in there. And usually I use coconut oil. This one's going to be at 3.5%. Coconut oil is usually used in my lotions, and I use it kind of as a filler oil. Sometimes coconut oil has very good properties in it, but I know that a lot of people are allergic to coconut oil, so that's why it's very important to be able to read your ingredients label to know what's in it. Because if you're allergic to any of these ingredients, if you're allergic to nut oils and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you know what's in it before you purchase it. Also, okay, next ingredient is good old sweet almond oil. And I'm going to use that at 5%. Sweet almond oil helps regenerate skin cells because it can penetrate damaged skin cells and soften those cells and allow for better hydration because it softened those skin cells for you. It's definitely good for anti-aging recipes, maturing skin recipes. And then shea butter. Everybody knows shea butter is like the ultimate in moisturization. So I'm going to use that at 5%. Vitamin E. This is a personal preference. You don't have to use vitamin E. I like to use it. I'm going to use it at 5% in here. Actually, I'm going to reduce the vitamin E and you'll see why in a minute. And then my next ingredient is going to be emulsifying. Sorry, I hit some key on my keyboard and totally lost my calculator, so I had to put everything back in. But anyway, so we were at the emulsifying wax and I'm using that at 2.5%. And you may want to check with your vendor where you purchase your emulsifying wax and see what percentage you can use for the emulsifying wax. And of course, the emulsifying wax or e-wax helps to bind the water and the oils. Like, you cannot make lotion if you do not emulsify those, because oil and water do not mix in nature. So you have to make them mix by emulsifying those two items. And then I'm going to use BTMS 50. This is a thickener, a very nice thickener. I'm using it at 2%. It is an emulsifier that leaves like a soft and powdery feel on the skin. It is wonderful in lotions. It is one of my go-to ingredients when I'm making lotions. It's just one of my favorites. And then I'm going to use stearic acid at 1%. Stearic acid is a thickener and a stabilizer, but it's optional. I like to use it in my recipe because I've been doing it for like the last 3 years and it's worked out perfectly for me. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know. And then preservative. Now this, you can, whatever preservative you prefer to use, it's a personal preference. I've tested a couple of different ones, and the best one that works for me is Liquid Germall Plus in lotions. And I use my and also look and see what the percentage is that you can use. I use mine at 1%, and then you'll go down here and you see it's at 100%. But I just noticed something. I have no fragrance in here. You don't have to fragrance your lotion. It's a personal choice. A lot of people like scented lotion. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to add a fragrance because I want to show you what you have to do when you get to this point and you're like, oh, I want to change some of the ingredients around. Everything has to equal up to 100%, right? So what I'm going to do is, first you have to know, let me put fragrance in here. You have to know what percentage of your fragrance oil can be used in lotion. And I'm going to use one that the percentage you can use up to 2%, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to subtract the 2% from the vitamin E up here, and we're going to use the vitamin E at 3%, and then I'm going to put 2% fragrance, and see now well, I'll show you. Well, you saw that. So if I take this out, you're only at 98%, and then when you add it back, of course, you're at 100. So now I'm going to calculate this. Now you see when I calculated that, it brings your totals over here. So now you can see how much you need in each one of these in ounces, pounds, milliliters, and grams. I have ounces selected. A lot of people like to use grams. It's up to you. Either way, no matter which one of these you have clicked, when you print it out, it's going to show you each one on the page. So it doesn't matter. You can, you know, do it however. But if you go down here, you'll see that we have 8 ounces. Well, because I changed it back to 8. And I'm going to show you here, like I'm going to change it to 16, right? So you have to go down here and calculate it again, right? When you calculate it again, now you have 16 ounces. So this is 2 bottles of lotion. And now you see that the amounts have changed. So it's that simple. It doesn't take a lot. It's very easy to do. You can put notes in here. Like sometimes people can put, if you want to, I always wait until I print it out and then write in my notes section. But you can put in the notes section if you put any additives in here. Some people put in the fragrance name that they use. I like to put in, if I use additives, sometimes I'll use colloidal oatmeal in my lotion. It also makes it very nice and smooth. Even coconut milk you can use in here too. Makes it nice and smooth. And that's really it. So I am going to hit, where is it? Oh, here it is. Print recipe. And this is how it gives you a printer friendly recipe over here. And then when you hit print this page, you can, you know, save it to a PDF, or you can print it to your actual printer. You can save to Google, whatever you want to do. But it's that simple. And I also use this particular calculator for other recipes, other skincare recipes. Any recipe that I make, I tend to use this calculator except for soap. I use this for all my other skincare recipes because it makes it very easy to break down all of the ingredients and you can see how much you're using. And I love to use this to test out new recipes. And I'll reduce it down to however much 4 ounces. If I don't want to use that much of an ingredient or of ingredients, if it's something new, I might just make 4 ounces of it. However you want to do it, just play around with it. I'm telling you, it's not hard to use. You saw me just go through that. I already knew what I was going to put in here, but even if you don't, like sometimes I'll sit here and I'll play around with the ingredients until I get it the way I want it, then print it out and go from there. But also, you'll see over here, they have other calculators and they have some charts and worksheets. I've never used any of these things over here, but feel free to try them. I'm sure they'll work, but I tend to stick to the soapcalc.net for my soap making, but it's up to you, to each his own. So I think that's it for this recipe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions that you have on this. Let me know if you use this and how your recipe came out. I would love feedback on it. So I will see you guys in the next video. Don't hesitate to ask any questions. I know sometimes when you're new to using this type of calculator, sometimes you're a little self-conscious about using it, but don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to try it and mess up. Now, I would suggest using at least 4 ounces if you just don't want to use that much of your ingredients. 4 ounces. Start with like 4 ounces. And let me show you what it looks like at 4 ounces, just for the sake, so you can see how much. It's not going to be a lot. So each one of these ingredients, you see how small these amounts are. This is just 1.4 ounces of water, 1.4 ounces of aloe vera liquid. I mean, these are small amounts. So you're not going to be using up a lot of your ingredients if you're just doing like a test batch. So I encourage you to do that if this is new for you. If it's new for you to make if it's new for you to make lotion, if it's new for you to make any other type of skincare products, just go with the 4 ounces, because as you can see, it's a small amount. So if you go lower than that, it's going to be kind of hard, and you really need a good scale that will be able to measure these small amounts. So okay guys, I'm rambling. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.